That was just a couple of minutes between stutters.
The countermeasure was Paul's prize. Everything he built was based on Will's device. His plan depended on it. You better believe I look forward to taking it from him.
Hey everybody, ChrilK here. Welcome back to a new episode of Let's Play Quantum Break. We are here in Paul Zarin's office, and the next stutter has occurred. And we know what might happen now because the shifter is still around, and in this case, yeah, we might get trapped by it.
Only one of Serene's treatments survived the explosion. His time was running out.
So was everybody else's.
Yes, his time was running out. Okay, from Sophia Emerald to Paul Zarine, Time Machine Core. Paul, don't worry about it, we're on schedule. Your Time Machine Core from the university has been transported to headquarters, and it's currently being installed into the new time machine frame we've built for it. You'll have direct access to it from the CFR chamber as requested. And no, before you ask, you can't actually access the CFR chamber from the time machine. That elevator can only be activated from within the chamber, so no one working on the machine can get to the CFR. I thought you'd appreciate that layer of added security. I know how important it is to keep the CFR safe. Yeah. Anyway, I know you don't actually intend to use the time machine, but should you ever need it, all we need to do is to deploy the corridor. It's actually all hooked up now, but we're still running some final diagnostics. The techs should be ready with it before the gala's over. Dr. Sophia Emerald, Head of Research. To Sophia Emerald from Paul Zarine, Time Machine Course. Sophia, please update me on our progress with the Time Machine Core relocation. Where are we with this? Thank you. Paul Zarine. To Paul Zarine from Sophia. Paul, yes, of course. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to add to your burden, and I know that these are hard decisions. You can count on us to proceed as planned. I know you're exceptionally busy now that the time is almost up on us, but I was hoping you would have time for dinner. Huh. Nice dinner. Okay, to Sophia from Paul. Sophia, I understand why you would feel that way, but this isn't something I take lightly. It's my experience that time travel only complicates things, and while my own trips through time has given us great opportunities, it's also set me on this path. I want to control it, not to use it. That said, I want to have the machine ready to use for emergencies. My foreknowledge of future events will end very soon, and it might prove to be useful to have the option of obtaining more detailed information from the future. Obviously, given that the furthest you could go back is the machine's activation at the university, visiting the past seems fairly useless. Also, ensure that the machine is heavily guarded at all times. Nobody is allowed to operate the machine besides myself. I want the corridor to remain undeployed unless I give specific orders to the contrary. As for the Choice brothers, I intend to give William the option of joining us, if possible, but I know him. He's a very stubborn and unstable man, and I don't know if we could ever trust him. I don't need to remind you that he built in that ridiculous little workshop with very limited resources, a device that broke the local physics at ground zero and caused my Cronon syndrome. I don't intend to give him a chance to show us what else he could do if he decides that we are a target. That, along with the visions I have seen, there are certain sentimental resources that make me wish I could let William live. But I doubt that he makes it possible for us. As for Jack, I am not too worried about him. It took me a long time to master my abilities, so Jack shouldn't be a major problem, unless he manages to use stutters to escape the area. Luckily, stutters should be very rare in these early stages of the fracture. Still, I've come too far to take any chances. I would prefer to take him alive, but nothing can be allowed to put our plan at risk. I'm sorry to have to involve you in something like this. I know it's not what you signed up for, and as I said, I don't expect you to be personally involved with the parts of the operation in any way. I'm not particularly happy about this part myself, and I wish I had better options. But our circumstances are as they are, and I have come too far to falter now. I hope you understand. To Paul from Sophia. Paul, we now have finalized the plans for acquiring and transporting the time machine core from the university lab. Your instructions are quite clear. We won't actually move it until your younger self has entered the machine, and the man will try to take the choices alive with the understanding that Jack choices in particular could be a threat, and neither can be allowed to escape under any circumstances. I'm still quite uncomfortable with all this, Paul. I understand your reasoning and I know the stakes are high, but I don't want to see anybody hurt. It's antithetical to my role as a scientist, and I wish you would reconsider. Surely there is a better way to resolve this, moral implications aside. The loss of Dr. Choice's expertise alone would be a great blow. If everything goes smoothly and quietly, we will transport the core directly to the Monarch Tower via ground road. If there's a commotion, and it seems there is any risk of detection, we will instead airlift the core to our dry docks operation and then move it discreetly from there to the headquarters. The construction of the new time machine frame at the top of the Monarch Tower has been finished since last year. Once we have received the core, it will be installed into the time machine per your orders. I know you don't intend to use it, but even with the limitations the nature of time travel imposes on us, I have to say, it seems like a great waste to not take advantage of such a resource, both from a strategic and the scientific point of view. Dr. Sophia Amaral. Okay. There's a Cronon source over there. Let's first get this. Where's the source? Let's first grab the source. Here we are. All Cronon source.
That's it.
Yeah, alrighty. So,
Paul spent a long time running Monarch in secret. It probably didn't help with that whole disconnected from reality thing.
okay, reflections on the end. I wish my memories about the end of time were clearer, but it was anything but a clear time in my life, and the world was such a jumble, a frozen mess of different timelines crashing together. I was running for my life the whole time, trying to avoid the shifters. Not an ideal state of mind for gathering intel. And it didn't help that she kept chasing me, trying to kill me. Beth Wilder. One of my own people. It was her all along. Even then, trapped in the end of time, as little as I understood about what was going on, I could tell she wasn't like me. That she didn't have the powers I did. I knew she had some kind of technology that kept her going in that suspended hell. Of course, I had no idea. It was a device I could eventually have my people develop. I suppose I should appreciate the irony that it was her chronon harness, my own chronon harness, that it gave me the idea for the lifeboat protocol. The idea that our technology could let humanity survive the end of time. I suppose I have to thank her for that. And she paid for her sins in the end, but she left her mark on me. I know the time to pay for mine is approaching quickly, but not just yet. Yeah. Yeah, back then, when Wilder and I played our game of cat and mouse at the end of time, I'd had an ounce of the control over my powers that I do now. Things would have turned out very differently between the two of us. She was strong and had the training. I was young and weak and scared. Even so, my abilities gave me an edge. I was lucky she didn't have the full striker gear. She was the one with the upper hand. I didn't learn to properly control my abilities until much later. In those days, they were unpredictable and operated on instinct. Control didn't come easy. I can't help but be aware that this doesn't seem to be the case for Jack. His mastery is growing by leaps and bounds, and is it just because that's the way he's always been? Fast on his feet, bold and adaptive, or is the fracture affecting him too? No, it's because he's played by a really good gamer. No, I'm just kidding. I thought we could contain him. It cost us dearly. It's not a mistake I will make again. Yeah, this up here, this reads more or less like a misunderstanding. Because imagine Beth would have had worked together with him, what might have happened when she would not just have tried to kill him, but to cooperate with him. He might have become a very different human, a more friendly one, and everything would have ended differently. Okay. The next big texts from Sophia to Paul. Quantum Ripple Research Unit. Paul, Martin, I know you've both been arguing that the Quantum Ripple Causality Research Subdivision has a great potential and we should keep it funded. I must once again implore you to reconsider. I'll be the first one to admit that the technology is impressive. The fact that Doctors Morphin and Rangers can actually track the consequences rippling out from minor shifts within the Mayor choice field is incredible. And the level of information detail they managed to obtain is amazing. But here's the thing. They've been at this for 2 years now, and they have not produced a single useful result. Yes, we can trace actual events from their small inception point to the actual consequences, very much in keeping with the basic chaos theory concept of the butterfly flapping its wings. But well, so what? Every single thing that happens in this universe is the result of such a chain of events. Being able to see the chain offers no real insight to anything due to the very randomness of the process. Furthermore, it's utterly misleading, and could say that some tiny event or tiny decision in my life yesterday led me to write this email, and that's technically true, but so did some tiny events or tiny decisions in my life 15 years ago. It's all a chain. The event yesterday didn't take place in a vacuum. It didn't come out of nowhere. So what's the point? We have no control over it. We don't get to direct it, and we get no useful information out of it. Also, have you actually seen the reports they generate? From a technical point of view, the way they manage to automate their analysis of the fluctuation signatures within the Maya-Joyce field is impressive. But again, it's all meaningless babble with no practical applications. The personal remarks on the reports are even worse. With all due respect to Ron and Terry and their indisputable technical expertise, I don't know what they're doing, and I'm not sure they do either. It's like they're coming up with stuff at random. The above outlines my concerns as to the futility of the entire process. I suspect that may not be enough to sway you. But I have one final point, which I think you should consider very, very carefully. The entire program is an unforgivable waste of monarch resources. I don't mean money, although the entire quantum ripple causality research subdivision is costing us millions and millions of dollars. But that doesn't really matter, because I know we can afford that. However, there is a more vital resource they're consuming. Each time they fire up their rig and delve into the Maya-Joyce field, they eat up a huge amount of chronon particles. Those are the finite resources, and as you know, we are projecting that the ground zero's yield will rapidly diminish as the fracture takes hold, which will happen very soon. You may not understand what the real impact of this is, so let me put it to you in practical terms. Every single time they detect and analyze a quantum ripple, it costs us a week of potential lifeboat runtime, minimum. Given Monarch's primary purpose, the total lack of useful results, I believe that's a luxury we cannot afford. I recommend shutting them down immediately, or at the latest during our next reorg. We can reallocate their resources to something useful and put Ron and Terry's expertise into great use designing the lifeboat. I'm sure we won't regret putting them to work on that, given their track record of working with Chronon Tech. Okay. Yeah. What do we have here?
Paul told me that he tried to change things. It failed. What he'd seen, it broke him. And I'd seen Beth go down the same path, but Paul, it consumed him.
Yes.
"17 years, he lived through twice. All of it mapped out, from memory.
He knew the market trends before they occurred. He had the tools to make a fortune, and he did.
Yes, he did. Okay. Anything else around? So let's get down there. What do we have here?
Paul was a powerful man, the leader of an empire. But behind the veil, he was a dying man. The signs were clear. Dr. Amaral was the one thing keeping Paul alive, but reading through their exchanges, there was something more than professional going on.
That's not my place to comment on.
Okay, Dr. Sophia Amaral. I find myself at a loss. We knew that the fracture would arrive. It was clear very quickly that the process was occurring much faster than Paul's projection, his experiences had led us to believe. That was alarming in itself, but there's another concern with the fracture. Paul's condition seems to be accelerating rapidly. I don't know what to do about either one of these issues. I haven't had a chance to examine Paul properly. And of course, he won't consent to any real tests at this point. He won't take the time, not with the situation being as critical as it is. He has to prepare for the gala, to take care of every little stupid thing Martin trots out of him. He won't think of himself at all, and I'm afraid that'll cost us dearly. So I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I believe this acceleration is a reaction to the stutters in time in Cirrusdale. His wave function is further disrupted by the excessive chronon energies within his body. Before the university incident, before the fracture, the condition was progressive but controllable. The lack of stutters helped keep it in check. Now its progress is rampant, and I worry that it may reach a critical point soon. We always knew that was a possibility, but all of our projections assumed we could have years, time enough to come up with a cure or a way to stop its progress. Which means there's a real chance that in the near future Paul's condition overtakes him. And if he does become a shifter, I don't know what to do about it. We haven't been able to help Dr. Kim. I don't know what we could do for Paul. I don't know what to do. The treatments are still working, but they take a toll on him, and their effect is greatly diminished. I'm concerned we may hit a point where he's forced to use them so often that the treatment becomes worse than the condition itself. And yet I don't see any other options. He will not rest. He insists on doing so much. I know he chafes under his dependence on the treatments. He sees it as a weakness. I'm afraid I may lose him. Yeah, she seems to like him quite much.
Last chance to walk away, Joyce.
Oh yeah.
Who the hell?
This is Liam Burke, and yeah, guys, I think we will meet him in the next episode of Let's Play Quantum Break. Thanks a lot for watching, and let's first have a look, and then I quit the episode.
Just one of you. Rick. Look, you have to realize you're not going to keep me from the CFR. Don't look like you're in any shape for this. Have it your way. Oh, she's got those fucking things.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to quit the episode, but now we are right in, so yeah, we just continue. Let's just continue. Then the episode will become a little bit longer. So, what can we do here? Can we do anything? Is he... Oh! He takes ours. Oh! Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Ah! I see. Oh, fuck. I see what's happening. We have to switch this off. Come on, switch it off. We have here a chronon dampener. And this must be switched off first. Guys, I'm playing here on a gamepad, and every single piece of auto assist or come on, take cover. Any shoot or aim assistance is switched off. This is totally free aim. Oh! He's quick. Come on, take cover. No, come on. No! Take cover. My goodness. Take cover. Ah. No. My God.
Don't do it, man. Just stay down.
Fuck you. I've got too much writing on this. You're not going anywhere.
The end of Liam Burke. Or at least...
Seeing that face put it into perspective. They were all misled, manipulated to believing they were doing what was right, what was necessary.
Liam Burke made his choice.
Liam Burke was an unnecessary casualty, one of way too many.
Indeed he was. Okay, let's first read the texts and then...
They'd stockpiled all the chronon particles from Ground Zero to keep the lifeboat running.
Enough to hopefully last until a proper solution was discovered.
Okay, from Sophia to the lifeboat maintenance. Everyone, please be advised that we are now at a point where lifeboat activation may occur. Accordingly, I have ensured that the preparations are underway for activation. As a part of that, what Chronon particle stores still remain at the Ground Zero harvesting operation are being moved to the headquarters and placed into the Master Chronon particle repository, ready to be placed under the CFR's control. Please be aware that what we have managed to accumulate until this point is very likely to be all the Chronon particles we ever have access to. Due to the fractures effects on the Mayor Choice field, the Ground Zero anomaly is showing definite signs of weakening. As a result, the Chronon particle yield decreases drastically and will soon drop to baseline. While we will obviously continue more traditional Chronon particle harvesting operations in order to maximize our stockpile, we all need to recognize that sourcing from outside of the Ground Zero conditions is extremely inefficient. Or, in plain terms, unless we find another source of Chronon particles, I don't believe we will. What we have now is all we will ever have. Please be aware that all use of Chronon technology eats into our limited resources, and while we of course recognize that we need to have our strikers and other soldiers operate in stutters, each operation undertaken will eat away at our stockpile and in very real terms cost us days of lifeboat runtime. Accordingly, we have to plan all use of this technology closely and choose our battles carefully. That said, we should also realize the ongoing situation with Jack Choice constitutes an emergency and will most likely require unconventional Chronon particle investments. Just the same, we should be aware of the costs. Yeah. I expect to see projected Chronon particle consumption rates for the foreseeable future and simulations of how long our stockpile will last. Adjusted for all of the scenarios we have discussed, see our last meeting minutes in our next Monday meeting. Yeah, okay, yeah. This was not really important. There's one more thing.
The lifeboat revolved around the countermeasure. He knew Will would try to take it back. That's why he was killed. He knew I'd try to do the same eventually.
Clearly, he was right.
Okay, from Lauren McStevenson to lifeboat maintenance. Read me right now, CFR procedures. People, because there seems to be a certain lack of clarity about when it's appropriate for someone to enter the CFR chamber and mess with the Chronon field regulator, and because I just had a fire because I just had to fire Kevin Janeway because he did that exact thing, let me remind you of the approved CFR procedure. You do not touch the CFR, period. I may touch the CFR because I am the lead technician in charge of it. Dr. Sophia Emerald may touch the CFR because she's our head of research and she knows what she's doing. Mr. Paul Serene may touch the CFR because he's Paul fucking Serene and it's his CFR. Nobody else touches the CFR. On occasion, some enormously lucky individuals who have been personally trained by me and are proven to be very, very dependable and incredibly good at their jobs, who don't have a track record of trying to enter the CFR chamber like paint huffing imbeciles because they just wanted to take a closer look at it, and who have remembered to bribe the lead technician in charge of the CFR with Tom Waits tickets, may be given written instructions to perform specific procedures on the CFR. Yeah. That will be a great honor and a sign of a significant degree of trust, and those people should be accorded all professional respect and an appropriate degree of brown-nosing and or passive-aggressive display of the envy by their peers. Or to put it in another way, you do not touch the CFR until you want to join Kevin in the how to stop being an arrogant dumb shit who jeopardized the only hope of a future for the entire human race because his mansplaining ass thought what the CFR really needed was a random dude who knew better self-improvement course down at the unemployment office, which I'm sure is where we all believe he was escorted to by those armed men. Yes, I'm very sure he was escorted there. There are no exceptions to this. The entire lifeboat protocol depends on the CFR being present, properly connected and functioning normally. You do not want to jeopardize this. This is bigger than any of us. This is bigger than any of us, and we are not here to fuck around. Lauren McStevenson. Okay, guys, and I think the next thing is to enter this CFR chamber, but yeah, this will happen definitely in the next episode. I will make a break now. I need another break, and this episode took quite longer than expected, so thanks a lot for watching, and yeah, please like, subscribe if you enjoyed the show, and see you tomorrow in the next episode of Let's Play Quantum Break. Have a good time. Bye bye.